So guys, let's talk about weight shift. It's such a big topic, and yes, it happens, but I guess in order of priority, we just want to put some sensible understanding on this. Now, I think there's a few things worth discussing first. Let's say, first of all, quite a common misinterpretation this, we are not hitting the golf ball with our weight. Heavier golfers do not hit it further, right? We all know a junior golfer who weighs nothing who hits it a bloody mile. So that's the first thing. Weight is not part of your power. We're not trying to use your weight to hit it. That's the first thing. Second thing to say, anyone who is trying to move their weight around too much in a more aggressive manner, which may be linked to the first point, I think it's power, then all of a sudden people are trying to be too aggressive. All they're really doing is throwing their kind of body movements and weight around. And what that's going to mean is the body's kind of too involved, and all that's really doing is compromising the precision of a kind of consistent kind of delivery. That's the second point. The third point is a little bit more about the detail of the weight. And I want you to understand that weight shift, yes, does happen. But in terms of how we control our weight shift, I want you to see that your weight moves via the location of your upper body. You kind of center of mass, but upper body is a great way to kind of understand this. You see, look, just quite simply, without talking about golf, if I was going to put my weight on my right foot, then my location of upper body needs to move across. And whilst I'm feeling that in my feet and in my leg, that's supporting the weight, the reality is it's the location of upper body. And if I was going to move to my front foot and so on. So anyone even trying to balance, walk on a kind of tightrope, has really got to control the location of their upper body so they remain balanced. So upper body is really what weight shift, or what dictates the shifting of the weight. And in many ways, the movement is so passive that weight can shift a little bit to the right. On the way through, it's going to shift a little bit. A lot of the weight actually is going to shift more after impact, and I'll show you what I mean by that. But because your upper body location dictates where your weight is, the reality is different shots are going to have slightly different weight shifts. You see, look, if I used this yellow ball here just to represent where my weight was positioned, my upper body kind of location, and this was my object ball, if I was going to try and hit a super low shot, where I've actually got to hit down a little bit more. Let's say I want to hit a low punch shot. Well, of course, there is an advantage now that I actually technically need my upper body to actually be in front of this so I can sort of hit down. Think about a low chip shot. We even talk about people being parked a little bit forward. And it's really more to do with the location of their upper body, and consequently the weight is forward. So if I was going to hit a low shot, I would want my weight actually forward of this ball, therefore my upper body kind of forward of this. It's why at times we even put the ball back so it's a bit more behind our upper body so we can actually hit down. So a low punch shot, I would even set up with the ball back a little bit, my weight forward a little bit, and I frankly would really want to feel my weight stays here in this shot. So I'm not trying to move behind it, and I'm not trying to be aggressive here with my weight. I definitely still need to turn and use the arms very well. But by me being in front of this, now I can hit down to hit that sort of low punch shot. So in many ways, in that low punch, I've just fixed my weight kind of in the right place. And try and see it that I fixed my upper body, and consequently my weight is forward. Again, upper body dictates where the weight is. And in the low shot, chip shots, punch shots, I need to be sort of in front. Now let's think about a standard shot a little bit more, where frankly a standard shot isn't a downward hit. A standard shot is a bit more of a, well, much more of a forward hit. And in many ways then, actually it's set up. I would want my weight, my upper body, a whisker behind this ball. Really nice to see the club head opposite the middle of me, then the club going in, so the ball is kind of left of centre. So my weight here is actually, whilst it feels sort of 50-50 to me, this weight is, my upper body is behind the ball. I'm not over here, I don't need to be. I'm still within the confines of my sort of base with my feet, and that's important. If I get here and then all of a sudden start moving, I'm kind of unbalanced. So your width of stance really should be able to support your weight, that you're nice and centered here with your sort of upper body. But I am very much behind the ball. And if I get to the top here, I have turned. That's the big movement. I have moved my arms over here, and consequently some weight would have shifted. Now, that wasn't proactive. I wasn't trying to get my weight over there. That's a lot more of a consequence that actually quite a bit of me, my arms, my body turn, I'm over here. So even from a measured point of view in a backswing, it's like, well, the weight's kind of going to follow my arms. And if I put my arms over here, well, guess what? My weight might go towards my toes in that scenario. I haven't actively done that. My arms have kind of created that. So the big movements of the body turn in your arms, and that's why in a backswing, the weight will shift a little bit to the right heel. It hasn't actually gone to the right so much. In many ways, the weight would actually go a little bit sort of back from, let's say, the front of my laces here in my right foot to my heel. And actually that's really just a product of, again, the big movements, which is the turn and a good arm pattern. So again, in my body weight, it's very passive, this. And the big movements, in many ways, the turn and good arms, would move my weight as a consequence. So I'm not actively trying to move my weight at all here. So in backswing, I felt like I've still stayed behind the ball. No massive shift to the right. I don't want or need that. The other thing quickly on this is when anyone tries to shift their weight this way, that is a lateral movement to the right. Now, during that passage of you moving to the right, we're not turning during that time. This is actually kind of what a sway is, really, is that a sway is a kind of an overusage of kind of weight going forward, knee pops out, hips go here. And when it comes to the body movements, it sort of tends to be quite good at one thing. So if it's turning, great. If it's moving sideways, great. But that's all it's doing. And in a backswing, we really want to feel there's a turn. So in many ways here, I don't actually want to feel that my weight has shifted a massive amount to the right. I'm almost not trying to shift my weight at all here. I'm trying to turn. Some weight would have moved, but because of my turn and my arms, it's not active. Okay. And then from the top, think of it like this. If I try to I hear a lot of this stuff, get into that lead foot and kind of push off. I hear a lot from the top. Let's shift, let's recenter and move forward. If I get to the top and I move my weight, and this ball representing my weight, I'm now in front of this. I'm basically back now to a low punch shot. So I've got standard setup, great turn in backswing, low punch shot impact. So again, this all does come from the idea that if I move my weight, it's more powerful. But it's like, weight's not power. If I start chucking it around, I'm going to interfere with the delivery again. So actually, in a standard shot, weight's going to feel quite centered. Ball is a little bit forward. So my upper body, my weight is a whisker behind the ball. I'm going to turn. Arguably, that might have moved a tiny bit because of my turn and my arms. I'm going to stay here. And actually on a standard shot, as that actually starts to go, as my right side now chases after that arm, this is where the majority of my body weight is actually going to move. Remember guys, it's called a follow through. It's not called a run ahead and then back out of it and then flip it, right? It's not called that. Let's really try and see that the structure that I've created at the beginning is the same sort of structure I've got at the top and the same sort of structure I've got at impact. I do not want too much movement. If I'm moving and oscillating around with my body, that would be the same if I flipped it on its head and I said, well, you've got to stay still, but I'm going to get the ball moving around and oscillating. That's no different. If you start moving, that's the same as the ball kind of moving around, isn't it? So let's keep the body, the chassis, in shape. Don't hold it so rigid so you're not turning. Let's turn in shape. Let's make sure that's a big part of the makeup. But just on this topic of weight shift, I'm set at the beginning. I'm not trying to transfer any weight anywhere really in my backswing. Some does move a bit to the heel, some move a little bit to the right, but only because my arms have gone there. On the way in, I'm going to stay here. The ball is actually going to go. And then through and past impact, this is where the majority of the weight would actually shift. So by the finish, okay, now I am in my left side. If I turn, move forward and stay in shape, the weight would actually be on the left heel. Anyone sort of coming up and out of shape will tend to be sort of too much on their toes. They're always losing balance and so on. So finish, weight would feel forward towards the target as I've gone that way. But importantly, your weight would actually finish on your heel. Your left heel is where your weight is actually going to be supported. You're going to get almost completely off this foot. I could pick that up, so I've got nothing kind of left back here. If I did, you can see upper body's back here. So everything then is so much more forward. And the heel finish is very important because that's going to enable you to stay in shape. And think of it like this, when you turn in a backswing, based upon where the arms go, the weight moves a tiny bit towards the right heel, for me, a right-handed golfer. On the way in, it doesn't move a great deal. On the way through, it's going to move forward, and it finishes on the heel. So it's almost a nice way to see this, is that I've gone right heel to left heel. And that's important. We don't really want you getting anywhere near your toes. Anytime people get onto their toes, they're falling into impact. They are invading all of this space that they need. But if I was to go right heel on the way through forward and I'm left heel, then my body has stayed, let me get a ball, my body has stayed sort of backing out the way, which has really allowed all of this space, great shape structure that's been in here. So that's actually on left heel there. If I'm going to start getting on my toes and falling into impact, I've got to stand up. This is where a lot of early extension can even come from. And then my finish is unbalanced. And guess what? If things are unbalanced, well, the brain is incredibly self-regulating and it doesn't want you to hurt yourself. So your body's covered in sensors. And if there's a sense of loss of balance, golf sort of goes out the window. Your brain's kind of, now it's like, oh, now he's gonna fall on his face. Now I've got to try and move around to try and stop from falling over. So there'll be a lot of reactions going on. I mean, even if I did this and just fell forward, it's like my foot's gonna go out to save me, or my hand might go out. If those events are going on whilst I'm playing golf, this is all a mess. And frankly, your body's always gonna prioritize looking after itself versus your golf. I know sometimes we might say, well, if I hit a great shot, I'd be happy to fall over and hurt myself if I could take that perfect shot. But it's just not the way the brain is working, and so it won't let you do it. That's why this topic is so big, it's so important, and really to give you a little bit more comfort that for a standard shot, the ball is forward, my weight's going to be centrally slightly behind the ball. To the top, I'm sort of right heel. On the way in, I haven't moved a great deal. It might go to the inside of the foot now, more towards the ball there at that point. But importantly, as I move forward into my left side, the weight has got to get into the heel very, very quickly. If I get on the toes here, I'm actually only going to block movements and restrict, and now I'm off balance and it's all a bit of a mess. So heel to heel is a really nice way to see it. Right heel, left heel. Right heel, left heel. What I don't want to have is going anywhere near the toes. What I don't want to have is anything that's just far too kind of aggressive as I'm jumping about. So as I said before, it's the body weight moves. It's nice to give you a bit of clarity on where it's moving to. A bit of heel to heel is a great way to see it because you're going to keep all that great space in front of you. But it's passive. It's not aggressive. Going back to the first point, we should not be using our weight to try to be powerful. I know it feels a lot of effort, and I think sometimes the amount of effort gets confused. If I use all of this, surely it's going to be more powerful. It's no. Good movements, efficient movements, great turn, great arm pattern is really what's doing this. Club and ball is a big part of the power side. Let's leave that for another video. But guys, look, hopefully that gives you a bit of clarity here. If we are going to really launch one, well, I want to be a bit more behind it. Let's say with a driver iron, I may be here, still moving, and then the weight's going after. If I wanted to hit a low one, then basically I'm going to set up here and I'm going to hit down to it. All right, so let's stop throwing your weight around. Let's try and manage it a little bit better. Put any questions kind of in the comments. And welcome, by the way, to the YouTube channel. It's going to be new for 2026. We're going to be putting some like this, some longer formatted videos, just covering off a lot of the topics that we're all struggling with, a lot of the topics that I'm dealing with in the studio day after day. And it's just, there's a lot of information out there. I've been doing it for 25 years plus, and I just want to give you all so much more clarity of what's needed to do. So weight shift, let me know in the comments any questions. Do the likey bit, the subscribey bit, it really helps sort of grow the channel, which allows me to spend a bit more time on bringing you great videos like this one. And I look forward to seeing you all soon. Oh, and write it down.